Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome back to the Whiskey Jedi podcast here on my channel. My name is Jake Berlin. I'm the host here on Whiskey Jedi. And thank you so much for joining me, hanging out with me. As I could tell, my ear is popping out, which is a little weird. I hope everyone's having a solid day today. It is Thursday. We're here. As I mentioned last episode, the show is going to be every 2 weeks on an every other week basis. Just fits the schedule a little bit easier. It also gets me excited to come back and talk some Star Wars and drink some whiskey. But yeah, we're here. I hope everyone's having a good day. It's a very cold, very gloomy, rainy day. The rain just started here about an hour ago, and it's coming down pretty strong on this end. So I hope everyone else is doing strong for where they are at. And as I've already mentioned, thank you so much for joining me and hanging out with me as I get into some whiskey and Star Wars. You know, the galaxy far, far away right now is a very interesting place. It's a very interesting place. There's obviously a lot of cool things coming, a lot of fun things coming for sure, as far as television and even movies down the line, characters and whatnot. But there's also some bad things that are going on in it. And one of those bad things happened this week. Finally, something that we've been, calling for as not just Star Wars fans, but people in general. And we're finally able to talk about it a little bit and have a sigh of relief, if you will, on the subject. And that is obviously Gina Carano and her being let go by Lucasfilm because of some social media antics that she carried out with. So as I mentioned in my postings of the show and the lead up of it, I'm not going to be talking about the details of what happened or things that were said. That's an out there enough. There's enough, coverage on that from other sites and other people. I wanted to shift the conversation to the big thing that's obviously going to take place and what is going to happen with her character from The Mandalorian. What's going to happen with the Cara Dune character, and whether or not that means a recast, whether or not that means a write out. Because we knew that, in season 3, she was going to be involved, obviously. And since the firing, there have even been reports of her having her own show, and Disney just didn't go through with it because of certain things that have been happening. So we're kind of going to get into it about who I may think that could be the best fit to play Cara Dune going forward. Will they even have the character of Cara Dune going forward? I definitely want to get into that. And of course, as always, I want you guys to join the conversation with me. I want you guys to comment along with me or ask some questions about it or whatever. Bring something up that you want to talk about inside this topic that I have today. Maybe an actress that you think could play the character very well. Someone that I may not know about because, there are a lot of small named actresses that could very much fit the role that I just don't know about. And so I would love to hear from you guys. But before we get to the actual Star Wars, the second half of this concept, this show, is the whiskey part. Now, I call myself the Whiskey Jedi just because I do. It's a great show name. Some people call it to me. I have my buddy make me this really cool sign back here for Christmas. So the second part of the show is whiskey. And when I have guests on, we don't focus on the whiskey too much. We're drinking the same whiskey most of the time or similar. And we talk about it a little at the end, but the way that it works when I'm individual here, when I'm by myself, I talk Star Wars and then I dive a little bit into the whiskey as well. And today, thankfully, I have a first timer, one that I have not had, one that I've heard a lot about. And so I'm excited to try it. I'm interested in it. And that is Wild Turkey Rare Breed, Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey Barrel Proof. Wild Turkey obviously is a very, very well-known whiskey in the community. It's a very popular whiskey. It holds a lot of stout inside the community. And I have yet to ever have it, but I specifically have their rare breed today, which is a little different. You can see the bottle there on the screen, but here's the actual bottle itself. Very cool shape. I love the cork. It almost looks like a bat knob, just something that I pick up from my history with stuff. But it's a very, very cool bottle, brand new. Have yet to open it, have yet to smell it. I unwrapped it obviously because I don't look dumb on camera. But I'm super excited because I've heard great things about it. And this was recommended to me by the gentleman at Total Wine. I had asked him, like, look, here's the deal. I have the show. I want to try a bunch of different whiskeys. Can you recommend something to me? And this is kind of the one of the first things that he went straight for. So if I don't like it, I'm coming for him. I'll go to Total Wine locally here and hunt him down. But I'm excited to try it out. And so let's just go and pop the cork a little bit, kind of get the sense of the smell and see what it's all about. Again, a bat knob. Very, very cool. That's the first thing that caught my mind. So, ooh. Very sweet sensation. Excuse me. Sensation. That's a little bit of a tough word. Much sweeter than I was expecting, I'll be honest. Caramel, vanilla, kind of a citrusy hint, which is strange. Not what I was expecting. I'll go ahead and pour my glass while I'm at it. So the deal here is that barrel proof, why it says barrel proof there at the bottom is a big deal. It's rare breed. The rare breed aspect of this whiskey, and I wrote this down, it's considered cask strength, aka barrel proof. Barrel proof. God, I can't speak today. Excuse me. So that means that it can sit in a long time and bask inside of a barrel and strengthen over time. Whereas a lot of whiskeys, they tend to kind of, maybe lose its flavor, I guess is the best way of saying it. If they're in for too long, it's something that isn't used a lot in making whiskeys these days. It's a very rare process. Yes, Norway, words are hard. Words are very hard today. Samir, I'm going to get to your comment once I get to the actual portion of Star Wars here. But yeah, so excuse me, cask proof, aka barrel proof. It strengthens over time, and it's not used in a lot of whiskeys today, and that's why it's so popular. It's a whiskey that is in the mid range of price. It's $40, and it's actually considered one of the more popular in that category. Not as far as price goes, but in the category of cask strength. And for $40, it's a great price. It's a great deal. And it tastes very well. And well, from what I've heard, I haven't had it yet. I've only smelled it. It's a sweeter flavor. It's got that caramel vanilla flavors, which is in a lot of whiskeys, but it's kind of combined with fruit a little bit. And so, Gabby, I see your comment. Yes, you might like it. You're not much of a whiskey person, though. Maybe. I would love for you to try it. I would definitely love for you to try it. I mean, I'll probably be having a glass when you get back anyway. So, but yeah, so it's something that, and I can tell why the guy at Total Wine recommended to me, because it is a rare type of whiskey. It's not something that a lot of companies take a risk on because they're trying to mass produce these days, right? And this is something that takes a little bit more time. And so when he recommended it to me, I didn't really know until I did my research on what it meant, kind of what the reasoning was behind it. And so I'm excited to give it a taste. It is a little bit of a darker flavor. I guess the camera and my light doesn't do its justice, but here in person, maybe my bottle will do this because the ice also doesn't help. Look how dark that is. It's a very, very, and compared to the glass itself, right? Very dark. The whiskey itself, for its type, is darker than normal. And that is because it's sitting in the cask, kind of basking in its own flavor and strengthening itself as it's the key word there, it's strengthened. It's a cask strength whiskey, aka barrel proof. What they put on the bottle, barrel proof on the bottle because it makes more sense. But it's a cask strengthened whiskey, which means it sits in a bourbon barrel for time and time and time, and it just kind of all of these flavors just melt. It's almost like letting a soup boil inside a pot for a long time. The longer you let it sit, the more flavors are going to come out. Very similar with this type of whiskey. This process, if you will, not the type of whiskey, but the process. And so I'm excited to try it because it's the only one in my vault, if you will, that I have like this. So I'm excited to test it out, see what it's all about. Let's go ahead and take a sip, and then I'll get into some Star Wars afterwards. Yeah, Norway, it does kind of look like a rum color. You're right, a dark rum color. Ooh, I don't have something like that in my vault of whiskeys. That is a very different sensation than I was thinking. It has a very cinnamon flavor, not like a Fireball, but a cinnamon-ish. Not like a straight Fireball is like the worst thing on the planet, but there's a cinnamon mixed with those vanillas and caramels that I was talking about earlier. Still a little bit of a citrusy sensation, but not as much. You really get that wood kind of oak scent to it, and I can taste the barrel in the whiskey, which is a good thing. For whiskeys, that's a really good thing. That typically you're like, oh, you can taste the barrel, but you want to be able to taste those aromas of what it's sitting in and what it's kind of melding in. First, right off the bat, I mean, that's not bad at all. It's not what I was expecting at all, but it actually has this really, really sweet kind of smoky sensation to it. And like I said, I don't have anything like that in my vault of whiskeys, and I can understand why it's called a rare breed. You get it off the palate right away. It's like the first thing you taste. And it doesn't like hit you like a truck would. It's kind of like a nice slow burn, which is really, really good. So I'm not a pickleback guy. I'm not a pickleback. Gabby is. She loves those picklebacks. I'm not a big pickleback, so that's not really my jam. It's funny, I like the old fashions, but I typically like drinking whiskey straight on the rocks. Just with a big glass of ice. So that's typically my jam. But I like the old fashions. So. All right, let's get into some Star Wars. I'll come back to the whiskey here in the middle of the show, about 10, 15 minutes or so. But let's get into this stuff with Cara Dune. So, as you all know, yesterday evening, it was announced that Lucasfilm had officially fired Gina Carano. I'll go and pull a picture of her just in case. They had officially fired Gina Carano. They had let her go, and some sites had even said that it was actually Kathleen Kennedy that may have done it. I don't exactly know if that was the case or not. I can tell you this much. I read a bunch of articles on this, pretty much from every major trade that had, announced it or written about it. I wanted to do as much research as I possibly could and find out the details of kind of what had happened, because it seemed like it had been months in the making, right? It had seemed like ever since her initial tweets about the LGBTQ community, the mask protocols, all that stuff back in like November while the season was going, it felt like a matter of time, but it obviously never happened until now. And then the stuff that had happened yesterday happened with the Holocaust, the Nazis and the Jews, and what had happened during that so many years ago, one of the worst things in the history of mankind. She had made very wrong comments about that. And just a mere matter of hours later, she was let go and no longer involved in the Star Wars universe. And so, it's a bummer. It's not a bummer. It's a good thing that it happened, because she should not be involved in any kind of franchise like this at all. She should not be near it at all. Like, get away, please. I don't want you to ever work again. I don't hope to see you in anything ever again. Like, just go away. But it is a bummer in the sense of the story, because now Lucasfilm is kind of having to deal with this situation of Cara Dune, right? What are they going to do with this character? Are they going to recast? Are they going to write her out? Are they going to, just find something else wacky that isn't those two options? I don't know. But I'm here to talk about it, and that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about those options and what we can kind of get to with this character going into Mandalorian Season 3. Also, Rangers of the Republic, the New Republic, excuse me. It had came out yesterday that she was essentially going to headline a brand new show, and we all believe that show was going to be Rangers of the New Republic, which made sense in the grand scheme of things. Now that's not happening. What happened? So let's dive into this. You guys in the comments in the chat, you guys watching, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts as I talk about this. Throw your pins out there. Throw your thoughts out there. I'd love to get them from you. Nora, we will get back to more whiskey talk, I promise. And yes, Samir, it is pretty surprising they gave her so long. But from what I had read, it almost felt like they were kind of waiting for like the massive shoe to drop. And yesterday was essentially it. Maybe they had conversations with her, but We'll never know the true story, obviously, but it seemed like they were kind of waiting for like the big giant piece of the puzzle to fall apart, and yesterday was that piece. So let's go ahead and start off with an option that nobody would want to see, but that could also make sense because there are so many characters that the Mandalorian has introduced over the last 2 seasons, right? We have Mayfeld, we have Tivik, we have Fennec Shan, we brought back Boba Fett. There's so many characters. We brought in the involvement of the Mandalorians, all of these characters that could easily fill the void of someone like Cara Dune, right? Because, I mean, to be frank, as much as Gina Carano is involved in Mandalorian season 1 and 2, as far as the character goes and her as an actress, in the grand scheme of things in the story, it would be a very easy write out. And what I mean by write out is literally writing her out of the show. She's off on a mission somewhere and dies, or she's just not involved anymore, or they go off world away from Navarro, and she's back on Navarro and they never go back. Like, it's a very easy write-off. She was only in 3-4 episodes over 2 seasons, and not that much screen time. 3, 4, 5 episodes, somewhere around there in 16 episodes so far. It would be a very easy write-off for that to happen. Also, Rangers of the New Republic has not happened yet. So that would be a very simple fix in my mind. I'm sure they're deep in conversations about characters and stories, stuff like that. But with this now happening, they could easily figure it out before it gets going. Didn't look like it was happening anytime soon. So writing her out is always an option. It very much is an option. You could easily find a way to, take Grief Karga off of Navarro, and with Mando, with other characters, leave her there as this, head of patrol, or she's a space cop on Navarro, and they just never set foot on Navarro again. And that's where she is. That's where she is. And so that's like a good way of writing her out. There's other possible ways. But writing her out is definitely an option. It is absolutely an option in this situation. And so if we do see that, do not be surprised, because if this were to ever happen, it's a good time for it to happen, because Mando season 3 is about a year away. It's taking place after Boba Fett. She was probably not going to appear in that show. And then Rangers of the New Republic was probably going to happen, I would guess, after Mando season 3. And so they have a lot of time to figure it all out. And so it's a good thing that it happens now. It would have been wrong if it if it happened during season 2 in the middle of it, because then people would have been in an uproar while the season was going and probably not finished the season. And again, this all has to do with what she tweeted and when she tweeted. So it's all on her. But if there was a time for Lucasfilm to ever kind of scramble to figure out the plan for Cara Dune, the time is now. It's a good time for it to happen. So anyway, write out is always an option. Do not be surprised if that does happen. So before we get to some actresses that I could see taking over this role in Mandalorian and possibly another show, I do want to come back to Wild Turkey just a little bit. And so I mentioned the taste that I was getting, the smells that I were getting. If you missed that, go ahead and go back to the beginning of the show. I'll tell you this much. It's a really good taste. I mentioned it, but it's a one of a kind that I have currently in my stack of whiskey. I have a number. Honestly, I don't have a number off the top of my head, but I probably have 12 to 15 bottles of whiskey. Some of them are low, and they're going to get lower because I'm going to do what's called an infinity bottle, and I might do an infinity bottle episode on this show. If you don't know what that is, stay tuned. I'm going to do one soon. But I probably have 12 to 15 bottles, and this is the first of this kind that I have in my vault, as I'm calling my vault. I should just call it a bar, but I don't know why it didn't come to me. Vault came to my head first, and I just ran with it, so whatever. So Wild Turkey, rare breed. I talked all about why it's called a rare breed. I talked about what the rare breed means. The smell first opening the bottle, the taste that first hit me. I'll tell you this much: it's a very good taste. Now that it's been sitting with me for a little bit, it's a very good taste. I'm very much enjoying this. The guy at Total Wine, he gets off on this one. I'm not going to go out and hunt him down for giving me a bad whiskey. He made a good choice. He really did make a good choice. So I do want to read this from Wild Turkey's website. I want to give a little bit of a background and kind of explanation of what they explain it as on their website. So it says, Wild Turkey Rare Breed, the true bold spirit of Wild Turkey has been captured in this authentic barrel-proof whiskey, creating one of the finest bourbons in the world. Uncut with water, Rare Breed is an uncompromised Kentucky bourbon with tones of sweet tobacco, interesting, very interesting, and hints of orange and mint. There's that citrusy flavor I got, making it a remarkably smooth whiskey legend. And then right here below this, actually, it has the awards it's won. Wow. That's a lot of awards. It hasn't won since 16, but San Francisco World Spirits Championship, double gold medal, silver medal at the International Wine and Spirits Competition in 14, again in San Francisco, in International in 13, same in 12. So it has won a lot of awards in its category and top awards, which is a big deal. So near perfect scores. It says here 93 points, 92 points, which I imagine it's out of 100. That's damn close. And so this whiskey has been around for a little bit, and it's been noticed by a lot of people for a long time. So yeah, going back though, the sweet tobacco is an interesting flavor. Maybe that's the smoky oak I was tasting. Smoky oak might very much be that sweet tobacco that they mention here in this kind of overview of it. But yeah, so right now I'm digging it. I'm absolutely digging it. So I would highly recommend a Wild Turkey rare breed in your vault. Yes, no worry. Whiskey Vault sounds badass, so stick with it. Yeah, I need a sign that says Whiskey Vault instead of bar. I have a bar sign on it. I needed someone that says Whiskey Vault or just the Vault. Just call it the Vault. It's a really cool name. All right, let's get back to Cara Dune. So here's the big part of all this. More than likely, because this character was supposed to be involved in season 3 of Mandalorian, because the character was supposed to have her own show, which wasn't announced, but we all expect it to be Rangers of the New Republic. Excuse me. It was a long day at work. So because of that reason and the storylines that they're going to have to create for this character, I personally don't see them writing the character out, even though I said it was an option. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't personally see them writing the character out. I 100% see them recasting her. And there are a lot of actresses out there that could easily pull this role off. Now, from what we've seen from The Mandalorian so far, is that they don't really like to get big name actresses or actors like your well-knowns, right? Like Pedro Pascal is a really well-known actor because of Game of Thrones, but he's not like an A-list. I wouldn't even call him a B-list actor, right? He was in Kingsman, but he was like a third or fourth lead in that movie. He's been in some other stuff there, but never like a leading man in a movie. He did Game of Thrones. He's done some small stuff. And then same thing with Carl Weathers, right? Carl Weathers was a guy back in the 80s and 90s, but he was never the lead guy. He was in Rocky, but he was behind Stallone. He was in Predator, but he was behind Schwarzenegger. So it's never been a show to like get like the A-list guys that are going to lead your franchise and be so recognizable by everybody in the world that they're going to be like, okay, I have to watch that. Even Giancarlo Esposito, he was the guy, the villain in Breaking Bad, but only a small amount of people watch Breaking Bad, right? He's been in some movies, but he's never been the lead guy in a movie. And so I don't see them ever getting an A-list person, a B-list person, a well-known actress to cover this role. I 100%, the people I'm going to mention could kind of teeter. They might actually be a little bit more towards the side that I'm talking about of being too well-known to be in this role. But they are people that I would love to see in this role. They're one of them who I'm basically championing to be to have them recast with her. Yeah, well, you're right. He is an A-list actor in our hearts, and he very well could. He's an A-list TV actor. I'll give him that. He just booked the role to The Last of Us. That's a big time role. That is a big time. He's an A-list TV actor, and that is totally fine because being a TV actor now compared to 10 years ago is a completely different thing. But yeah, so the person that I'm championing to, who I want to be recasted in this role, might be on that side of being too big of a name, but we'll get to that. So there's two names currently that the internet has essentially set on fire to replace Gina Carano. One of them is young and unknown, and I have no recognition of who she is because I don't watch the show. And it's a show that I'm probably going to go turn on after this because it's been talked about to me for so long, and I've been trying to get to it for so long. I just never have. That is, here it is. That is Frankie Adams from The Expanse. I have heard her name and seen her name pop up everywhere. That they want this woman to replace Gina Carano as Cara Dune. Now, like I had said, I don't have any history with The Expanse. I've heard so many great things about it. I've been told so many times to watch it. I have just never gotten around to pressing play. And like I said, because it just got brought up again, I am probably going to go watch it after this. We'll see. Come back to me, ask me if I really did, because I don't know if I actually will. But I have heard her name pop up so many times over the last 12 hours because of her role in The Expanse, how strong and powerful of a woman she is in that show. And because it's a sci-fi world, right? The Expanse might be ending sometime soon. I don't know. Maybe her character died. I don't know. And she could kind of potentially take over this role. She seems very similar to Gina Carano as far as a build goes. The black hair. She looks about the same size. So it wouldn't be that much of a change. And like I said, I enjoy seeing unknown people in roles. And Star Wars is the biggest franchise on doing unknown people, right? Daisy Ridley, John Boyega. I mean, back then it was Carrie Fisher and not Harrison Ford. Well, maybe Harrison Ford, Mark Hamill, all unknowns at the time, right? Hayden Christensen, just all these unknown people in Star Wars they've casted over the years, and they roll with it. And so I would not be surprised if they go that route. So be on the lookout for that. Frankie Adams is a name that has been popping up, and yes, from what Norway says here, this is also another name that I've heard, but I haven't been able to pull an image for. Lana Parrilla, Parrilla. I don't know how to say the last name. I've seen her pop up in a lot of articles and people saying oh, here are the 10 people that could replace Gina Carano, or here are the 5 people who can replace Gina Carano. I've seen her name pop up as well. Again, an unknown, someone who is not going to be recognizable to the mass community and who can take on the role as her own. That's the biggest deal here. You don't want to see an actress. You don't want to see her. You want to see the character. And getting an unknown is typically the way to do that, right? Daisy Ridley wasn't Daisy Ridley. She was Rey. John Boyega wasn't John Boyega. He was Finn, and so on and so on. So, and Smear, that's another good point. We just want someone who can act. That is very true. Someone who can act. The role could be expanded. Gina isn't the greatest actress, and quite frankly, I think Sasha Banks made her look even worse when she came around in season 2. Speaking of Sasha Banks, I've seen a lot of people say that they would love to see Sasha Banks in the role. I would too. I would, but I want to see Casca Reeves back. I really do want to see Casca Reeves back. So that could be a possible thing as well. I don't see Sasha Banks taking on that role, though. She's too recognizable as Casca Reeves at the moment. Okay, so outside of Frankie Adams, I have 3 people here. One of them has been mentioned by a ton of people. It's basically like the fan casting. Like people put out their fan castings. This is the fan cast pick. This is the one that everybody wants to see, right? The people that everybody wants to see. Oh, that's right, David. Thank you. I did see that. She was. I saw that in an article. Okay, thank you for reminding me on that. Thank you. I appreciate that. Anyway, she's a little older. but I think that she'd be totally badass. She was in Battlestar Galactica. She had a little stint on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. She was in Spartacus. If you've ever seen Spartacus, go watch Spartacus if you've never seen it. She was in that for a long time. But that's Lucy Lawless. She played Xena the Warrior. And obviously she has, experience in this type of role, an action role. It's funny because this show, and I've never seen it, but I've heard that this show was cut too soon. It was just canceled too soon, and they never got to really finish it. Yes, she's a little older, but I would totally dig seeing a Lucy Lawless in this role. Absolutely. Why not? I mean, there's nothing against aging her up a little bit or making her just that much of an age. Like, who cares? I would love to see her in that role. Plus, Lucy Lawless kicks ass. When she shows up and stuff, I get pumped. Honestly, I was so bummed. And spoiler, the show's been out for a while, but she had a very short stint on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I want to say it was like an episode or two. It was literally like a cameo. It was the dumbest thing in the world. They had Lucy Lawless, and they got her for like an episode or two. I was so bummed because I was watching her on Spartacus at the same time. I was like, oh my God, that's Spartacus. Like that's what's her name in Spartacus. I don't know her name off the top of my head, but she was badass in Spartacus. She was great in Battlestar Galactica. And so she's a name that people would recognize, but she's not an A-lister. She's not a B-lister. She's a name that does TV shows or pops up in a supporting role. And, she very much fits the build of what The Mandalorian has done with actors and actresses. So I would not hate at all if Lucy Lawless appeared up as Cara Dune in the future. Plus, seeing her lead a Star Wars show, come on. Kidding me? That'd be amazing. And yeah, there you go. Boom. Perfect. Katie Sackhoff's going to be in Mando season 3 a little bit more. Lucy Lawless coming in. I mean, it just makes sense, right? Maybe Jon Favreau's a massive BSG fan. I don't know. I would love to be Lucy Lawless because she totally fits. People love her already. She's older, but this is Hollywood and they can make... Yeah, they could. Like, who cares? They wouldn't even need to say anything. Like, it's just Lucy Lawless's Cara Dune. Boom, plain and simple. That's all you need to do. Who cares? It happened. Be happy with it. All right. So I have my 2 picks here that I came up with personally that I would love to see in this role. One of them is the person that I am 100% pushing as they need to put this woman in this role. Like they should have casted her from the very beginning. And I'll save her for last. So the first person I'm going to bring up is someone who might be a little too big. She's been in a lot of movies. She's been in one massive blockbuster action franchise over the last couple of years. She's going to be in them upcoming in the 2 more movies. And that is Rebecca Ferguson. Rebecca Ferguson, I think, would murder this role. I think that she would be so amazing in a Cara Dune role, in that costume, in the role up alongside Din Djarin and Greef Karga, being the sheriff of Navarro, essentially leading a show like Rangers of the New Republic. I think that she would be perfect. But like I said, I think she's a little too big of a name. I don't know if she would sign on for it. She might sign on for it if she is, in fact, the lead of Rangers of the New Republic. But that is not 100%, a thing right now. We're not 100% sure if that'll actually happen. So going back to it, though, if she was casted as Cara Dune, I would lose it because I'm the biggest Mission Impossible fan. I love those movies. I've loved them more so over the last number of years, ever since Ghost Protocol. I love the first 3, but the last 3 or 4, what is it, 3 of them? Ghost Protocol, Rogue Nation, and Fallout. Yeah, so the last 3 have really reignited my love for the franchise. And she was a big part of that, right? She was in the last 2. She's going to be in the next 2. And so I would be absolutely down to see Rebecca Ferguson. Plus, she's a very similar type to Gina Carano. She's a very similar build. She has done action. She is an incredible actress. She's done more so than just action stuff. She's been in actual films with performances, and she's done really well. It's funny because I actually wanted her to be She-Hulk. I thought she would have been a great She-Hulk, but I think that she would be a great Cara Dune. Will it happen? I'm going to give it like a 2% chance, maybe even lower than that, but it's something I would love to see. So Rebecca Ferguson would be a great call as Cara Dune. Whether it happens or not, probably not, but a guy can dream. Okay, the number 1 person in my mind that I think should be Cara Dune going forward, that they should call if they haven't already, if they haven't already. If they got Rebecca, then Pedro will get over Grogu fast and no reunion. Is that what you want? I mean, maybe. Maybe. Just kidding. Okay, so yeah, exactly. Great. You know what? A great point. Jon Favreau had to recast James Rhodes. Well, the Marvel did, but Jon Favreau dealt with it from Iron Man 1 to Iron Man 2. It's an easy fix for him. He's done it before. He's going to do it again, and it's going to be simple. Anyway, back to my number one choice to take over as Cara Dune going forward. She has been in a ton of movies. She has been in a ton of big franchises. She's done action. She's done acting, drama performances. And she is the absolute perfect fit for Cara Dune going forward. And like I said earlier, she should have been casted right away. I know that it's just like me saying that, but if I was Jon Favreau, I would have casted her. You've seen her in movies like franchises like the Resident Evil franchise. You've seen her in stuff like Fast and Furious, and that is none other than Michelle Rodriguez. Michelle Rodriguez is the perfect choice to take over as Cara Dune. She is the perfect choice to take over as Cara Dune, right? She has played alongside some really big names in Hollywood for a very long time. And like I mentioned, she has done stunts. She knows how to hold her own, not just alongside people, but by herself in scenes. And she is someone who has like always been sitting there, but has never like broken the seal to on the other side of acting, right? If she landed a role like Cara Dune, that'd be game changing. That would be game. I love her in Fast and Furious movies. I do. I think the character of Letty is so well layered, and what they've done with her is really smart. I love that they brought her back, even though they brought her back in maybe a little bit of a wonky way. I love that they brought her back. I always enjoyed her in the Resident Evil movies or movie. I think it was two of them. The first one, and then maybe like one of the last ones before Afterlife. I think, I don't know, one of those. Resident Evil movies get so out there. Yeah, I think she'd be a great choice. And it's funny because I don't even know my real reasons behind it. I just think that she'd be the perfect fit for a Cara Dune character, for the type of character, right? I had other couple, like for example, I had Maggie Q on my mind a ton. I had Maggie Q was in my head so much to take over this role, but when you look at Maggie Q as an actress, she doesn't play the Cara Dune types, right? She plays much more of the Fennec Shand types, right? The more acrobatic kind of, bounty hunter, assassin types. That's what she plays. She doesn't play the brooding soldier. She doesn't play the brooding soldier like a Gina Carano does, or a Michelle Rodriguez, for that example, right? Michelle Rodriguez has been in those type of movies. She's played that type of role. Maggie Q doesn't. And again, Maggie Q was like, she was like just punching me in the face, but like, pick me, pick me, pick me. But she plays a role that isn't what Cara Dune is. And so I had to go someone with that type of role, a soldier type, someone who's kind of much more brooding, who can get down fist to fist, stuff like that. And that's what Michelle Rodriguez is. And like David, and this is exactly why, she fought Gina Carano in Fast 6. They fought on the plane, and spoiler alert, she killed Gina Carano in that movie. I mean, like, why wouldn't you want to choose her? It's perfect. It's a big giant circle that comes back around. Like, why would you not want to go with that? So, yeah, again, I don't really have like a solidified reason of like if I was to go up to Jon Favreau and he was like, okay, what's your reasoning for me wanting to cast Michelle Rodriguez? I legitimately wouldn't have an answer. I would just be like, dude, like, just look at her. She's perfect for it. Like, she legitimately, like, look at her history in films, and she's perfect for it. Like, here, let me pull up her filmography real quick. I got to pull this up because I want to see what else she has been in outside of just the Fast and Furious stuff, because I know that she was Avatar. She played a pilot. Boom. She was a soldier. There you go. That's all you really need to know, right? She was in Avatar. She was in not the Transformer. She was in I didn't know she was in Alita. Was she in Alita? She was in Widows, another hard ground and pound action movie. There's obviously the Fast and Furious movies. The Assignment, where she played a lead who forgot who she was. Machete Kills, she was in that, yes. She was in a Call of Duty video game. Boom, soldier type. I mean, look, she legitimately is like the perfect choice for this role because she is basically Cara Dune in real life. There, you know what? There's my pitch to Jon Favreau. If he were to ever ask me, hey, Jake, why do I need to cast Michelle Rodriguez? I would just simply say, because she is literally Cara Dune in real life. Boom. He would cast her. I mean, he probably wouldn't. He probably wouldn't listen to me, obviously. But that's what I would tell her. She was in, even the movie was bad. She was in Battle of Los Angeles. Oh, crap. I forgot she was in Lost. I so forgot she was in Lost. Yeah, so look, there's enough reasons to go for a lot of people. SWAT. Boom. That's the movie I was looking for. She was in SWAT. She kicked ass in SWAT. Again, yeah, she wasn't a Demi Lovato music video. I saw that come across as well. I didn't want to mention that, though. Blue Crush, which is a great surfer movie. I mean, she's done plenty of more acting than Gina Carano has. She really has. And again, from what I was mentioning earlier, she's not a Rebecca Ferguson type where Rebecca Ferguson is going to get the dramatic roles, right? And this isn't a bad thing, but Michelle Rodriguez has just kind of been typecast. She's a badass, and there is nothing wrong with that. She gets cast in these roles that calls for straight badassery, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. Imagine what they can do with the character of Cara Dune if you casted someone who has the experience of stunts and action like she does, but can act at the same time. That's what I'm getting at. That's exactly what I'm getting at with the people I'm picking. Lucy Lawless can do that. Rebecca Ferguson can do that. Michelle Rodriguez can do that. Frankie Adams, from what I heard, can do that. And all the other people that have been mentioned can do that. I think there's too many big name actresses being thrown out there. You're not going to get that type of name in this role. You're not, because the role does not require a lot in Mando. And if they do put her as the lead in Rangers of the New Republic, then maybe, but I doubt we'll see that. I don't think we're going to, like, I saw someone put like Charlize Theron. I was like, no, like as much as I would love to see it, it's not going to happen. We're not going to get Charlize Theron in this role. We're not. And so that's kind of what I'm getting at, is you want someone who has the ability to, okay, you want someone like Katie Sackhoff. There you go. You want someone just like Katie Sackhoff who can straight kick your ass, but also act at the same time. And that is exactly what they're going to go for in Cara Dune. I think Michelle Rodriguez is the perfect choice. I really do. I think she's the perfect choice. And so it's going to be interesting. I'll tell you that much. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens with this going forward, and how fast they recast, what the turnaround time is on what they're going to be doing with the character. Because I imagine that they're going to shoot soon. They're pumping out all these shows, and they're going to have to, get them going very soon. Mando season 3 is going to premiere in a year. They have to shoot 8 episodes. On top of recasting, they're going to have to do it quickly. And outside of Fast and Furious, what is Michelle Rodriguez doing very much right now? A whole bunch of nada. So, Jon Favreau, if you ever see this, which you probably won't, cast Michelle Rodriguez. I 100% give all confidence behind Michelle Rodriguez to be Cara Dune going forward. All right, ladies and gentlemen, all of you watching live, thank you so much. I hope you guys enjoyed it. That was a lot of fun on my end. I kind of turned like a very sour subject into a lot of fun as far as talking about who can play the character. It's like a restart. When we hear about all these character descriptions and stuff, and all these shows get announced, they're like, oh yeah, this character's gonna be this and this and this. It's we like to theorize about who it can be, and who can play the character. It's very similar to what we do on Apocalypse Movies. If you want a movie channel to check out, I'm a part of a channel called Apocalypse Movies. I don't know. It's not in the description, but you can search it. We have a show called The Casting Table, and we cast characters. We fan cast characters. And so if you enjoyed this episode, that show is for you. I'm telling you. We actually just casted Thrawn. We just casted Thrawn for Mando and Star Wars in general, but a live action Thrawn. And that dropped today, actually, which is funny. And so go check that out. Just go check out everything on Apocalypse. I really appreciate it. But Yeah, so back to the whiskey real quick. Let me take a sip. Wild Turkey Rare Breed. Wild Turkey Rare Breed. I didn't know what to expect. I'll be honest. I didn't really know what to expect with the whiskey, but I really enjoyed it. It is what's called a casket. Not casket. Is it casket? Did I say that wrong? Let me just make sure. Cask, not casket. Duh, it's not dead. Cask strength bourbon is what it's called, and it's super tongue. I would love for you guys to try to say that 5 times fast. Cask strength bourbon that sits in a barrel for so long that it gets stronger over time. It's truly one of a kind. It is truly one of a kind. And Chuck, really, man, are you guys talking crap about your draft or my draft? I don't know what you guys are talking about, but hey, Ian, thanks for popping in. I never said this to you, Ian, but I love your profile image, by the way, Captain Marvel. I dig that so much. I actually have her hot toy coming from Endgame, which is gonna be super cool. Maybe I'll do an unboxing of that. Yes, I would love this. If Wild Turkey, if you ever see this, sponsor. I'd love to drink your guys' whiskey on my show every week. I'd love to drink it on your show every week. Well, good. I'm excited to see you guys actually duke it out in the draft. That's going to be interesting. But yeah, so Wild Turkey Rare Breed, it's a very different type of whiskey. It's sweet. It's smoky. It's citrusy. It kind of has all these different flavors in one. But it's really, really good. It's really smooth. It's smoother than I was expecting. And like I mentioned, it's a one-of-a-kind whiskey because the type that it is, there's not very many of them. You'll never really see a big-name company do something like a rare breed, where it's a cask strength, where it sits in it for so long. Because of manufacturing purposes, they have to push bottles out, right? Because they're bought every single day. And you'll rarely find a company that takes the time to do something like this. And I'll tell you this much, Wild Turkey has done it well. So Wild Turkey Rare Breed, Kentucky Straight Bourbon Barrel Proof, which is another term for cask strength. It's the better way of saying it. It's barrel proof. Highly, highly recommend if you want a good bourbon. This is definitely one. Like I mentioned earlier, if you guys who were not here, the top looks like a baseball knob, which if you're a sports guy, I mean, that's enough of a reason to get it. Duh. So Wild Turkey Rare Breed is definitely a winner on this channel. I will definitely be sipping it over time, and I'm super glad that I was able to do it today. But anyway, that is going to wrap up this week's episode, or I guess this 2 weeks episode. This episode is what I'll say. Whiskey Jedi. Again, to all of you watching and commenting along, I can't thank you guys enough. Seriously, I do the show for my own pleasure. I like drinking whiskey. I like talking Star Wars, and the fact that you guys want to listen to me do it and ramble sometimes is truly it's fun. I really enjoy doing this. So thank you guys so much for hanging out and talking Star Wars with me is really cool to get the interaction with you all. No, Samir, I will not be doing a pickleback whiskey shot next episode. You'll never see me do a pickleback whiskey shot on this show. Never. But yes, so anyway, let's see. The next episode is going to come out not next week, but the week after, which in fact is actually my birthday week. Which it'll come out either the 24th or 25th. And so look out for that. I'm looking to get a guest on that show. I have yet to decide on who I want. It'll be someone from a space. And so I'm kind of searching a little bit. I have an idea of who I want, but it all depends on if they're available or not. So if you guys have not checked out the most recent episodes of the Whiskey Jedi, last episode I had the great Sean Sullivan on, and we talked pilots and space battles. It was a lot of fun. We kind of got super nerdy about what makes a good one. And we drank some Woodford Reserve on that episode, which is a little bit of a personal whiskey to me. But yeah, so if you guys enjoyed this episode, make sure you guys are hitting that like button, share it, let other people know about it. But again, I'm here to drink whiskey and talk Star Wars, and I'm happy that you guys want to do it with me. So yes, this show is every 2 weeks. So twice a month, every 2 weeks. And we do all kinds of fun topics and drinks whiskeys. If you guys have a whiskey recommendation, leave it in the chat. And Samir, that doesn't mean a pickleback. No picklebacks. That is forbidden on this show. Picklebacks are forbidden on this show. But leave me a recommendation. Also, leave me a topic that you guys want me to talk about, whether it's a quote or something that happened in Star Wars that you want broken down. I'd love to do it. I'm down to talk anything in Star Wars. It doesn't just have to be news. This just happened to pop up on the radar last night. I was like, oh, well, I have to do this. But I'm down to talk Star Wars in any way. And so leave me some comments. Let me know. Hit me up on Twitter, all that good stuff. It's right down there below at Qui-Gon Jake, the cheapest of whiskeys. And yeah, so again, I am Jake Berlin. I am the Whiskey Jedi. This is my channel. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me and joining me on this episode. I really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun. Every 2 weeks, you guys can check me out on Apocalypse Movies. I'm there every week doing all kinds of cool movie stuff. Like I mentioned, casting table, fantasy drafts, watch-alongs, that type of stuff. I'm also on A Certain Point of View, which is where most of you have found me talking Schmodown on a weekly basis. We have some really cool things coming up, guys, I promise, on top of what we've already done. So look out for that. And then, so to everyone who watched, to everyone who has watched on the replay, thank you guys so much. I love you all. And may the Force be with you.